Thank you for being part of this. Aintzane is joining us from Barcelona. She has been dedicating her life to the management of innovation technology. She works at Knowledge Innovation Market, and she's the co-ambassador of Technovation Girls. And her goal is to boost STEM and STEAM amongst girls. And of course, that means she's excited and passionate about everything that connects education, technology, and innovation, which is Technovation. So welcome, and tell us what life has been like for you, and especially through the pandemic.
Thank you very much, Dara. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with you all. Just talk about girls and technology and education, and really mix that I really love. So thank you. It actually it has been a really tough period. I think as everyone, but if we speak in terms of education, technology, or innovation, Tara, I think obviously COVID has had a really huge negative impact on education, especially. This further exacerbates the pre-existing learning disparities already existing. So there is a risk into reversing the progress into the sustainable development objectives for which is the quality education, and also and another ones, for example 10, which is reduce inequality. So I think we have to be focused on that, no, on which is the impact that COVID has left us.
Yeah, and I think that's what made me realize that Technovation and the community that is part of Technovation, our work is even more important now than it was before, because girls and women are bearing the weight of the pandemic during and after. For all of those who are tuning in, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions for Aintzane, please put them in the chat. I think you may need to log into Twitch to do that, but this is meant to be an interactive discussion, but also a way for us to understand what everybody's lived experience has been through this very unique time, but also how do we build back stronger. And all of us tuning in care about the same goals. So Aintzane, what have you found has been working? You were talking about how we just closed the Technovation season, and you were so thrilled to see more girls participate. And I think we were worried too that after a year of learning online, you don't want to do more stuff online. It's harder. So you were thrilled with the results. So tell us what surprised you, what's worked, what has been hard.
So yeah, as I said before, right, it was quite a tough period, but I think a lot of things, well, not a lot of things, no, just quite a things surprised me, and I would suggest from my experience maybe some strategies that maybe the educational community can use to keep students engaged and learning. So first of all, I would say innovative approaches in support of education and training continuity. What do I mean, right? Bringing global knowledge and online tools together help us to deliver a quality education, not only for a formal environment, but also for non-formal and informal, right? So if we see that from an integrating point of view, I think it's really important to take advantage of technology as a means, not as an end, to innovate in education approaches and to find new ways of learning. Also, I think it's a must fostering a strong educational community culture involving everyone who is included in the learning process. we all know, for
Can you
example.
give us examples, Aintzane?
Of course, I was saying, like, for example, Technovation Girls. It's a clear example of how strong communities act as a support network, just not for students' engagement, but also for students' health and well-being. This network, this support network that with programs as Technovation create, I think help young people, and especially girls, to engage with the real world of work, and yeah, not only professional, also personal, and try to create different pathways and social networks that afterwards will help them.
Yeah, and do you have any specific examples of students where I can totally see how um, having a regular team to connect with on a weekly basis gives you some stability, right? And a new friend structure. But I'm curious if you have any examples where of, especially like you're saying, the mental health and well-being.
I think, for example, as you may know, in Technovation, mentor and student, for example, they meet in a physical space when COVID didn't exist, of course. But this environment that the mentor and the team creates, enable the children, enable the girl, enable the youngest to be creative, to forget about any insecure that they may have, to create self trust in him, so in her. So I think that the most important of this community, this strong culture, it that the young people may disconnect, and reset, try to learn and relearn, and I think it's for both parts, even for students, and in this case mentor, or we can change for a professional educator or teacher. I think it's a way where both parts are learning, not just the student or not just the mentor. It's bidirectional. So yeah, I think that also not only for education, but also as a personal resource. I think it's a really really good way to try to boost, to inspire this health and well-being for the student.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Like adults need to learn. One thing I learned was that when you're learning something new, you're actually not thinking about your stress, and that's why sometimes learning something new helps relieve stress because it adds some new positive feelings into your life, and that's why it's helpful for the mentors as well. So, Ainzane, tell us, like, how did you recruit? You mentioned that you doubled the numbers of girls in Catalonia. How did you go around recruiting more girls to join, and what did you find as sort of was difficult?
So, well, we start to recruit last season, girls, mentors. We start in October, and it's a period of 3 months duration. And yeah, we go along schools, library, public libraries. We have the support of
Online or
online. Yeah, this
mm,
season, everything was online because the circumstances. But if imagine that the COVID didn't exist, we were presential, but in this case it's online. So we met teachers and students by online conference. We explained the program, what's Technovation it is, and a lot of them, as I said, we double numbers, so it's a really good. Were participating, and it's not only students, also mentors. We have quite sponsors that they give us some mentors as well, so they are really helpful for us. And yeah, that's why we get people engaged with the program, and also engaged, yeah, not only with the program, also that's what I was saying, right? That um, that generates the communication, a strong
Human connection.
communication. Exactly, the connection with them. So it's really amazing.
Um, so, what would you say was the main difficulty in the season this year?
I would say keep people engaged.
Mm.
Uh, I think this year, people and moreover, young people, I think they are really tired of
Mhm.
webinar, conference, online classes, online all day or almost all day at home. So my colleague Esther and I were really worried about how not boring this
Mhm.
get with innovation, but I think we get that and we did it. So that's the result that we got. So yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think this was our concern too, but maybe it comes down to it's less about the medium and more about what you're doing together, right? Like, so yes, it detracts because we cannot be in person, but the problem that you're tackling is more important than how, like whether you're doing it in person or online. um, so what should we educators be thinking about as we try to sort of look ahead? I know like schools are thinking about the new year and meeting and beginning in person. But like you said, like there are some losses, there are some things to be considered, and none of us are the same as we were before, right? Like this experience has changed us. So, in your point of view, what do you think we should be thinking about as, especially in regards to girls?
So the a difficult question, right? But I think that first we need to be aware of the professional and teachers' readiness. Teachers and communities needs to be better prepared and support if equitable and inclusive learning needs to be warranted.
Mm.
Also, technology alone cannot guarantee a good learning outcomes, right? So I think it's really important, as it is train teachers in ICT skills. It is also to ensuring that they have the assessment and the pedagogical skills to meet students at their level and to be able to implement these new learning strategies. When I say teachers, I mean professional educators, teachers, facilitators, mentors, people who is involved in the learning process. Also, I think I would highlight that open educational resources and
Mm.
open access to digital tools must be supported. As we said, um, education cannot thrive with ready-made content and built outside of the pedagogical assets and another one outside of the human relationship between the students and the teacher, right? So I think that digital solutions need relevant content, adequate instructional models, and also an effective teaching practice. All of this uh, involved in a supportive learning environment. And the last thing I would say, STEAM and student in the center of the process, right? We innovation and ICT turn out to be the main characters and in this period and new approaches new educational approaches have been developed. So I think it's a must also to ensure learning continuity during this period and this becomes a priority
Yeah.
not only for educators but also for governments and public administration.
Yeah, I think the good thing is everybody is so used to now online connection, right? Like, so we've accelerated maybe 5, 6 years there. What is an example of a new learning approach that maybe you learned about that you hadn't heard before?
So, for example, I think we can use a lot of digital tools to for example, to make brainstormings.
Mm.
So on the as an example, another time, Technovation Girls on the first phase of brainstorming and ideation.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of digital tools have been developed.
Yeah.
Jamboard, Miro, Canva. We've got a lot of digital tools that make us able to
Yeah.
do an activity that maybe we can even imagine
Mm.
to do it online,
Mm.
but now it's maybe our day a day,
Mm-hmm.
not
And
only for
maybe even harder on paper, because that's, and then you have a record online. Interesting. Yeah.
exactly. And this also these digital tools maybe you can record this hour of brainstorming, and then you can watch it and
Yeah.
rethink again.
Yeah.
So the possibilities are
Yeah.
a lot, but
Blended.
exactly. But I
Mm.
think that the key is a safe use of technology, and a great use of it, and as
But
a means
supporting
of use
people.
of technology. Exactly.
So we are hungry for stories. So tell us a story that inspired you.
A story that inspired me. So, last year and at the STEM Woman Congress, a team of Technovation Girls were the speakers of one of the speakers of this event. And one of the questions was, "What would you like to be when you were an adult?" And they were five girls. So one of those were saying their perfect job, or the imaginary job. And one of them said, "I would like to be the prime minister of the president of the government in Spain, as a woman, and to raise my voice to make a better world." So I think that story, honestly, it's really, it has a lot of meaning for me, at least. And that's what innovation, apart from technology and knowledge of coding, give the people their voice, their trust, their confidence, and to raise their voice up, and to say what they want to do. No, I think it's really important, and it really
To lead.
inspires me.
To
Uh,
lead people.
yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
also to see these girls, how they are involved in the learning process and in their projects. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah. You should be proud.
I'm really proud, actually. I'm really proud, of course.
Yeah, that's a great story. And I think that that's the difference. It's not about learning how to code. Code is just a tool, right? It's like your mindset that I want to change the world. So
Exactly, and I think that is one of the things that COVID-19 also left us. The resilience that communities, students, and the education community have shown in this situation. That, as I said before, it was and it is really tough for the education area.
yeah, for
So,
sure. Every area, but education
of
particularly,
course,
right?
of course,
Like,
yeah.
um, so Einstein, what book should we read so that we are
So
thinking about bigger things?
yeah, well, I just finished to read, and it was really funny because it has to be really good with the topic. So I'm gonna say it. It's What I've Learned by Living by Eleanor Roosevelt.
Hmm.
And I love the actually
Hmm.
I really love the first chapter,
Hmm.
because it talks about the process of how how to learn. It's
Hmm.
it's uh, it's really it's really interesting, and I really recommend you this book.
I
I'm gonna
only
read
know
it.
her quotes, and her quotes are so powerful, right? And I think, of course, I read about her husband, but I have not read her book. So
So I
thank
really
you.
recommend you, Tara.
Thank you. Thank you. I will get it. Um, and lastly, I think you talked a little bit about it, but I think the hard part with working on a social problem is that it's very intimidating, right? Like there's so many things that you have to get right. It's not just about one number. Um, so what do you think we should focus on with intention this coming year?
All right. So I reckon, or from my point of view, I would say that we have that there is an unlimited drive, as well as an untapped resources that we can count on for the restoration, not only of educational essential services, but also for the fundamental aspirations. So I think that it is, or I reckon it is the responsibility of governments and the international community uh, to stay true to the principles and to conduct reforms so that not only will the children and youth regain their promised future, but all education stakeholders will find their role and will make it happen, this restoration. So I think this should be the intention, the first point, and after that we consider another point. But that one, I think it needs
And
to
what
be
should
the focus.
individuals do? What should
So
educators do?
individuals,
Yeah.
actually, I think on the one hand, I think that the it's really important to do a great use and a safe use of technology. As I said before, as a mean, not as an end. Technology is a tool, is a digital, or well, not digital, mandatory, but is it a tool that help us to achieve our goals? So I think on the one hand, to have this in mind, keep in mind, it's really important. And individuals, I think, on the intention for the next year, I think it be uh, learning all the time, lifelong learning,
Mm,
lifelong
mm,
learning.
mm.
So I think not only for COVID, I think even if COVID doesn't exist, I think it's something that we need to do every day, and I recommend that keep learning and cultivate our mind to flourish, so yeah, I would say that
Agreed. I think that's the essence of life.
actually.
Um, I have um, I have my Taekwondo grandmaster, and he says something that a river stops being a river when it stops flowing, right? And so it's like you stop being a human being when you stop learning. So I think that's the essence of lifelong learning. All right, Antani, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and, of course, for all the hard work that you do daily. And next week, we will have an interview with Dana Amro from Dubai Cares. They focus a lot on empowering and supporting girls' education in 14 countries. So, lessons from COVID and supporting girls and their parents. So, tune in then. But thank you again, Antane, and
Thank
have
you,
a good
Sarah.
weekend. Bye, everyone.